women's rights. But we can't define what a woman is. But also men can be women. And no uterus, no opinion. But also men can get pregnant. Men are oppressing us. But also, it's okay if biological men take over our spaces and our sports. Women are so over-sexualized in this culture, but it's empowering if women are the ones sexualizing themselves. Are you guys quite done yet? Like, are you okay?
That just about sums it up.
This is my friend Brianna Robinson. You should absolutely go follow her. She's fabulous. It's incredibly hypocritical, as everything is. Modern day feminism is not consistent in the slightest. Somebody commented and said, high empathy and low IQ generally correlate with feelings over facts. I mean, that's the basis of modern day feminism.
Modern dating is an absolute mess these days. You can therefore understand how it all began with women simply desiring physical, intimate freedom and equality. The age of exploration for women was a brilliant notion, according to progressives and feminists, and it was a method to fight against centuries of patriarchal tyranny. Women are now advising other women to date numerous men at once and never settle, changing the original message. As a result of this, most women start to believe that all men desire from them is raw physical intimacy and nothing else, which may be very demoralizing. Interestingly, feminism has almost caged women and made it easier for men to tell the world how they've been misread and misunderstood. Women are disproportionately represented in undervalued occupations, are familiar with the harsh realities of the job market, and, most importantly, find it dreadful to think of growing old. Even though this last statement is quite telling, the majority of women find it difficult to accept it because of their social conditioning. Women are afraid of getting old. They are afraid of being single. They are afraid of not being loved. Schools, the media, and the entertainment sector actively urge women to put off getting married and starting a family, while concurrently encouraging them to pursue other objectives, such as pursuing an education, a career, or even many partners. By the way, the word partners refers to casual flings and one-night stands rather than long-term relationships. Social conditioning is incredibly harmful and potent. Modern women who fall for it will go to any lengths to protect the beliefs they hold dear. In reality, they simply combine it with the information they've received from institutions, important figures, and multinational corporations, with little regard for the pleasure of women. Some women like these can even be found on TikTok and Facebook. When they are in their late 20s and have fewer options for partners, you'll find them more frequently. Women, particularly contemporary women, who were the most hypergamous ever, fear single men who were content with their lives. It makes them sick to their stomachs to see a single man, and yet who is so happy and doing so well, isn't asking for attention from women. It threatens their ability to attract men and diminishes their worth. Because that's what society expects. They've exploited males, pursuing them to get their attention and making marriage proposals. According to society, you need to find the ideal girl and have a happy marriage to be truly happy. To find the actual and ideal man, women rely on this fantasy and date hundreds of guys in this manner. Because they have consistently disobeyed what society has advised them to do, lone guys are akin to rebels in that system. Many successful and educated guys understand that women exaggerate their feelings. Every successful man who has easy access to women will admit that they analyzed the costs to rewards ratio and discovered it to be negative. In reality, the danger to benefit ratio declines even further when you take into account contemporary problems like harassment legislation, divorce pitfalls, and allegations. To pursue a more fulfilling form of happiness, many men who had unpleasant interactions with women simply gave up and started living as bachelors, working out, creating businesses, and traveling. Happiness that a woman is incapable of giving. Men are aware of the nature of women and no longer desire to play that game. They even overcame their innate impulses and stopped attributing their happiness and worth to the women they chose to date. Instead, they began to rely on their life's mission, which is a fatal blow to the woman who relies on these men to approach her in clubs so she may receive free drinks, extravagant dinners, and clothes, and write about it all on social media. The woman no longer has control over men. Thus, it poses a serious threat. Women would be pursuing men, while men would be too preoccupied with their objectives to give a damn if these men had inspired even more men. Remember that women's attractiveness and appeal are finite, and the instant she reaches her limit, she will leave the dating scene. The value of a man, on the other hand, will increase if he stays unmarried since he has nothing to lose. She will be in a lot of trouble if she doesn't find a boyfriend right away. Women merely want us to fall for the trap and engage in a rigged game of love as our battlefield with them. Women gain power by portraying weakness because it motivates males to step up, get involved, and take care of them. Males will, however, go their own way and look for other reasons for existing, in addition to defending women, as women assert their power more and more. If women don't need our protection, why are we still around? While women want men to stick by their sides, look after them, and listen to their problems, they also want men to think they are independent of them. The most important realization a man can have is that women are significantly more afraid of single men than men are. The majority of unmarried men are honest. They are single because they lack sufficient value. And so, modern, as I've said before, more and more women will die alone today, more than ever, because they failed to live up to their nature, and instead blindly followed an ideology that had them running the other way, chasing careers, and away from the happiness of raising a family with a partner. But as a consequence, now more than ever, more and more women are turning 40 and 50 and realizing they'll never be able to have a life outside of work, to which they devoted their last 20 years. More and more women are going to figure out too late that life's not just about chasing corporate dreams or being a strong, independent woman who needs no man. They'll realize that life's more about family, about having a partner, about giving birth, and about raising a family to see them younger generation grow old and prosper. They realize that life's more about giving and not believing in ideologies that promote hatred and segregation of genders. And this is why more women will die alone today more than ever. Let's talk about why modern women are terrified of being single and alone, and how they'll probably end up living their entire lives without a partner and being too afraid to admit they made the biggest mistake of their lives by blindly trusting feminist ideologies. We have to know how this happened. These women, however, were brought up to think that the world owed them all they wanted in life. They were instructed on how to manipulate and take advantage of men, as well as how to make sure that they were the center of attention, and that these men were always accessible for whatever form of closeness that the women desired. They were also instructed that women may monkey branch from one guy to the next to advance in terms of resources, cash, social influence, and power, and that men are designed to be exploited and then abandoned. Modern women truly fear being alone as much as they fear single men. Both go hand in hand. The more single men they see, the more cause for anxiety they have. To understand this, we must first examine the fundamental physiology and thought processes of women. I've already talked about hypergamy in the past, and how women are constantly seeking the ideal partner. Let me now talk about how women cherish their perception and self-respect. Many things will start to make sense and fall into place once you realize that. Women are the epitome of attractiveness and beauty. This is their key selling point and is generally acknowledged. Women are often utilized as symbols of lust and love, since a woman's attractiveness is her most powerful tool. Some of the most perplexed ladies you will ever encounter today are single women over the age of 40. On the one hand, they'll claim they'd be okay to wait until they're 60 before they find the perfect person. But on the other, they'll be posting heartbreaking messages on social media about how they wish they could experience a man's love like their friends. Modern women did everything they could to capture and have the essence of power they thought would make them happy by working the corporate ladder up until their 40s, but realized a little too late that they had a natural need to nurture families, settle down, have a loving relationship with men, and become healthy and nurturing partners. And now that they've been inundated with feminist doctrine, they can't even confess that they should have taken the conventional route and lived following their feminine nature. So, things aren't exactly going great for modern women in the world of dating, or for that matter, in life in general. And it's very tempting to simply blame men for all of this pain and misery. This is why I strongly advise you guys to stay away from women who have turned 40, since they are just not suited for men who seek serenity in their lives. Even noble ladies are conscious of this awful truth, and freely confess that they erred by not meeting someone in their 20s and 30s. The remaining women delay having children, like imposing their ideals while spreading the gospel of tolerance and freedom, and feel oppressed simply for being female. They rarely acknowledge the fact that being a woman is far more advantageous than being a man. Women had the chance at equality, and they blew it.